welcome back. Thank you for joining in. We're here at the Pickering City Centre Presentation Gallery. We're here to showcase Pickering City Centre, which was one of the most popular and in-demand projects of 2023. There are tons of reasons why we wanted to reach out to our clients and people out there of the general public to let you know why this was a popular project. Give you some incentives, also a breakdown of which pre-construction projects we feel you should invest in. Which pre-construction projects will bring you the most return on your investment. We're here today joined by Centre Court. We're co-hosting the seminar 27th of January between 3 and 5. I hope you enjoy it. Keep watching. Do comment, like or share. Let me know what you think.
I'll go over the scale model with you in a bit. So the difference between resale and pre-construction, you would know resale, you see exactly what it is. What's the dimension? What does it look like? You buy right there. When it comes to pre-construction, we have certain tools that we use to show you what the vision is, what it would look like. Mark has just talked about it. There's 4 towers right here. This is what we call a scale model. And when we talk to you in terms of what you're looking at, we can specifically show you how the view would look like, what are the amenities and whatnot. Generally, what happens is that understanding pre-construction, it is important to understand that there's different stages. So there's different words and terminologies that you would have heard. First thing is that, you look at the scale model, you look at the plans that we show you. Once you've selected it and you've bought it, that's based on the agreement. And that agreement tells you, what are the important dates that you have to be looking at. For instance, the third thing will call you the term, which is interim occupancy. So once, you have the agreement, you've signed the deal, and you're waiting for your units to be ready, there may be a time period. Usually, this is what happens when your unit may be ready, but the entire building is not ready yet. So the builder may pass you the key, and you have to wait a few months for the title to be transferred to your name. That's what's called interim occupancy. And during that period of time, while you hold the key to your unit, and you cannot have the title transferred yet to your name, you have to pay a fee to the builder. So what's unique about this builder, which is Centre Court, which is building this massive project, is that you don't have interim occupancy. When your unit is ready, you get the key, you get the title to that property at the same time. That is because Centre Court has done so many projects that they have delivered again and again, and that's something that they take pride on, that you don't have to wait for those few months because there's a lot of restrictions usually during that time. So that's important for you to know when it comes to specifically this project. Now, you buy pre-construction directly from a builder. So it is important that you do your homework and research, know that it's a known builder. When I work with my clients, for instance, often we go to the Ontario home builders directly to look at the track record. How much has the builder developed? Is there any risk to my client's investment that the project may not close? You've heard several times that, clients are told this project is cheaper, come by here. Usually you would see that, if you see something which is terribly cheap compared to whatever else, there's always a red flag. You have to do your research to know that this is not just a builder with no experience. It's a builder that has built several projects, that has developed and delivered. So Centre Court has over 5 billion of worth of real estate that has been handed over to the clients, and over 19 projects which are still in works in GTA. Market update, I'm going to skip that and invest in a builder before a building. And that's what I just went over, that doing your homework and research about the builder, knowing that your investment is secure is very important. Also, something to look at is, sometimes you would have looked at 2 or 3 different projects and you think, okay, well, it looks like the price per square foot or the unit price for this project is cheaper compared to the other project. It's very important that you look at not just the unit price, but also what else is included and at what cost to you. Things like water, parking, maintenance fees, development charges. These are very important factors that you have to take into consideration when you're looking at the cost. Because if you don't take into that consideration, you may think you're buying something cheaper without really comparing it to other projects.
I wanted to say about invest in the builder before a building is we found in 2019 almost 4,000 units canceled. And the past year, we knew about some cases, some builders that also had to cancel the projects. So this is for me the first thing you as an investor or as an end user have to consider before you go to important things like location and prices. This happens usually projects. There is so many reasons why a developer cancel a project, but usually it boils down to two. One is that they couldn't secure finances, or two, because they take too long to start building the project. And during that gap, the cost of construction increases. And basically, it doesn't make any sense to continue with the project. So for us, it's very, very important that you know who are you buying from before location and prices. And as we saw on Center Court's presentation, as Mark was telling us, with numbers, Center Court is a very reputable builder with 20 towers at 0 cancellations. The 10-day cooling off period. So this is very important, and I always suggest my clients to work with a lawyer that is expert in pre-construction. So the pre-construction agreement of purchase and sell is not like the resale in pre-construction. It is more than 50 pages, and this needs to be reviewed by a professional lawyer in pre-construction. I always, and my team always suggest them to be very careful when reviewing these documents. During these 10 days, the buyer has all the rights to back up and say, I'm not buying anymore. That's why it's very, very important to review page by page. The interim occupancy versus final closing, as Farin was saying, is very important to understand. Those are two different stages of the project, and the client, the buyer, the end user needs to understand what is happening. As you know, and Farin explained, there is 0 days of interim occupancy on this project and Kipling Station 2, and this makes this project much accessible and friendly for the end user. So there is fees associated with this interim occupancy that you will not have to worry about when you purchase in Pickering City Centre. And now assignment and sale. There is one free assignment on Pickering City Centre and Kipling, meaning the buyer of the project have all the rights to assign the unit that they purchased to another person, and you don't have to pay. Usually builders are gonna make you pay for this assignment. Here you will have to pay only the legal fees that we have to incur with. So this is another great point that you have in your favor when you purchase a unit with Pickering City Centre or Kipling Station. Another important thing when you're purchasing in pre-construction is knowing your closing costs. And this is gonna be guided by you, lawyer, and your real estate agent. I always suggest to pay extreme attention to all the points that the agreement of purchase and sale says. And this is some of the costs that you can incur when you're closing. Land transfer taxes, development charges, education. So anything that the municipality have to incur to put all the people that is gonna come to live in these 10 towers, some of them is gonna be charged to the end user. New schools, sewage, electricity, water, anything that they have to pay to make this a reality. And then there are things like deposits, incentives, completion timeline. Completion timeline is an important one. We have seen projects that have been delayed and delayed and delayed, and buyers are just waiting there. And this is something that with a reputable builder like Center Court, more than likely is not going to happen. Builder, always. Builder is the first thing that we have to consider before purchasing in a pre-construction project. You want to continue? So inspection, even though they are not mandatory, some buyers, some end users, some investors want to do an inspection before closing date.
You are familiar with Center Court and who we are as a builder. We are one of the most active developers in the GTA, second to Tridel Developments. So we're in good standings and a good company with Tridel. We've been in the business for over 13 years, and during that time, we completed, sold, and under construction over 20 towers throughout the GTA. And what separates us from a lot of other developers throughout the GTA are a couple of things. Like I mentioned, because we have our own in-house sales, construction, and acquisition team, we have 0 days of interim occupancy. Also 0 cancel sites. So whenever you buy a project from Center Court, you know that that condo is going to be built. And I'll show you some numbers and some stats that will also support that. 0 days of interim occupancy is something that I would say 99.9% of developers cannot say, which is very relevant and important in today's market. Because you're starting to see a lot of people who are buying condos now, who are taking their possession now at a higher interest rate, they are being subjected to higher interim occupancy fees. So when the mortgage payment could be between 3 to 5,000, we're now making interim occupancy payments that are $6,000 to $9,000, depending on the size, depending on how much money that they put down. And as a result, not only is it a challenge for them to carry that payment, but it's also whether or not you have a tenant in that building or not, you're going to see a loss, and it's going to be a significant loss. Here, when you buy a condo from any of our developments, we've had a strong history, and we continue to have that history of 0 days of interim occupancy. So not only do you own that property the minute you get your keys, every payment that you make goes towards the mortgage, the interest payments, and the principal. And most importantly, based on the rates of the interim occupancy that are posted, you're going to have discounted rates through a mortgage rep based on today's rates. So those are very important things. And because we have 0 cancel sites, one of the ways we keep our construction not to be canceled is that every time we go to the sales cycle of our buildings, we're always fully zoned and city approved. So there's no chance of us having to revisit or to change any of the modifications to our building. So you know what you see is what you're going to get from day one. And as you can see, over 10 towers are currently under construction. Projects like Transit City 4 and 5, which were the first buildings to start the master plan community in Vaughan Metro Center, are now closed. And again, 0 days of interim occupancy. I know Fahim can attest to this. Forest Hill is also going through final closing, where people are now picking up their keys, taking possession, and starting their first day of mortgage payments. No interim occupancy there. We're on the verge and actually started to close 55 Mercer. And projects like 199 Church, 8 Wellesley, Prime, West Line, and 252 Church are buildings that are becoming in the next 6 to 12 months. And again, we're advising any buyers, all of the realtors involved in these projects, to get their mortgages ready, because once they receive their keys, they'll be making their mortgage payments. We also have Pickering City Condos, which is in the downtown Etobicoke area. And you'll see a lot of patterns between Pickering City Centre and Pickering City Condos that we have. We always find areas that are in prime location, unique opportunities, in AAA locations that will just keep you doorsteps away from public transit, which from an investor or an end user point of view will always be a valuable tool to have. And here are the stats. In those 10 buildings, from the existence of our buildings, we sell out our projects in a little over 2 weeks, 70% of our building. And what makes that important is that for builders to start construction and to get the financing to build these projects, they need to reach a 70 or 75% threshold. So to know that with all of our past projects, it takes us on average 16 days to complete all of our towers in the past 13 years, you know that that building is going to be completed. A lot of times builders will promise that they're going to start construction on a project, say 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and they'll give you some incentives like extended deposits. The problem with that is the longer it takes for that building to be completed, the more it costs to actually finish and to complete that building. So the interest rates go up. If there's government intervention, they're imposing a new tax on the developers to complete that project. If the materials and the labor force, the cost of those major factors start to increase, then that takes away from the bottom line of the developers. And the longer it takes to build because of these reasons, the more chances that there are the cancellation of that particular project. So knowing that we not only sell, but most importantly, we build fast, gives you peace of mind that you've made a sound investment and you know with certainty that that building will be completed. So let's talk about Pickering City Centre, why we're here today. We're standing on a 55-acre master plan community that Center Court completely owns. So it's one vision. The borders of the master plan community I'll talk about as well, but it's just west of Glen Anna Road, east of Liverpool, south of Kingston Road, and north of the 401. You'll notice right behind you is a scale model that will show you where the first 4 towers are going to be built. And we'll talk about this master plan community and why it's an advantageous time to buy and to invest in this property today. So in this presentation, you're going to learn about the severe condo shortages in the Durham region. I know I've already touched on the 55-acre master plan community bias, but I'll go into greater details about that as well. And the advanced built-in infrastructure that makes it a benefit to anybody buying today and all the assets that are currently here as we speak. And the investor blueprint, why it's a great time to buy. Mentioned before, this is the first 2 of 10 towers to be built in the first phase. So we can talk about why it's a better time than now to buy today and invest and appreciate the growth tomorrow. And also, with the help of the Remax Metropolis team, why this is priced below market value and why it's priced to sell, and why you'll find some really good value and opportunities here at Pickering City Centre. We know by doing our own homework, this is the best value in the GTA. And we'll talk about that and show you some hardcore numbers to support that. Untapped potential and opportunity in the Durham region. So when we're talking about the Durham region as a whole, we're going to also talk about the GTA and what separates Durham region to all the different other areas, some markets in the GTA. We know that in the next 15 years, that the population growth in Durham is going to grow another 50%. Okay, and so we're looking at the sub-markets here. And of these sub-markets, the completed condominiums in the GTA, a total of 418,000. And when you see where all of these condos have been absorbed and allocated, you'll know that in Durham, only 2% of that 418,000 condos completed were absorbed in the Durham region. Very small amount. We also know that in the next 7 years, there were 170,000 condos that were launched in the GTA. Again, of those 170,000 condos that were launched, only 4% were sold in the Durham region. So we understand that this is a great shortage of condominiums, and more importantly, affordable houses that people can actually get into the market and build their equity to greater and bigger things. So what does this all mean? Pickering City Centre is in a way an opportunity to provide affordable housing options highly dependent on attainable low rise. We also know that to keep up with the population and growth that we see here, that we're going to need all of these houses and there's a complete shortage. When you only have 4% of an area dedicated towards condos, that means 96% of the area is dedicated towards low-rise homes. And it's very hard and it's very unattainable to buy something that's a detached, a semi, or a town in this particular area. So the only other option that someone would have to get into the real estate market is through a condominium. where you would build your equity and then you can go on to bigger and better things. We are aligned with the city of Pickering. We have the full endorsement by the mayor. And like I mentioned before we start the sales of any project, it's always city approved. So this is no different. So now, talking about reinventing the master plan. Not all master plans are created equal. And that's something that's very key because you'll see that there's a lot of developers that are out there talking about a master plan community. They're building 2 or 3 condos, master plan community. We're building 1 condo amongst other developers, master plan community. This area is the true definition of a master plan community. And so when you take a look at some of the other master plan communities throughout the GTA, being VNC, in Vaughan, Square One, downtown Markham, they don't check off all the boxes with the existing infrastructure that is already there. Here at Pickering City Centre, we do that. So when we talk about being next to the high order transit system, we're just steps away from the GO Pickering station that'll get you to downtown Toronto, Union Station, in about 30 minutes. You're literally steps away from the Pickering City Centre with no plans of demolishing the mall. In fact, we're looking to improve it, to improve the shopping experience for both the residents that'll be moving into the Pickering City Centre condos, but also the existing residents of the Durham region. Restaurants and entertainment. Not only is this mall 700,000 square feet of retail space, there's restaurants and shops all within minutes away. So if you're not going to the Farm Boy, which is on the northwest corner of the mall, you've got restaurants and shops just across the street, and you've got Durham Live that's about a 5-minute drive away. And also 5-minute drive away, talking about retail space, you've got access to Frenchman's Bay. Beautiful views, beautiful restaurants and shops all along the lake. So as I mentioned before, Pickering City Centre is our master plan community by CentreCore. Just steps away from City Hall, which is noted in the scale model that we'll take a look at a little later. And the borders, as I mentioned before, we're just north of the 401, steps away from the GO Pickering station that can get you to and from Union Station, from your condo to downtown Toronto in about 40 minutes. And you're only 6 stops away from Union Station. Okay, 11,000 square kilometers of access. This is already existing. What you'll also notice that in the near future, Metrolinx has plans to build a bus rapid transit system along the Kingston Road line. 36 kilometers, 49 stops that'll take you from downtown Oshawa all the way to the Scarborough Town Centre. And what's important about that is that it will also be able to take on the increased density that this area will have, along with the buildings, GO trains, you'll have access to the Metrolinx system. If you're wondering what a bus rapid transit system is, think of it being comparable to out in Markham. Highway 7, they have a bus rapid transit system where it's a dedicated lane that runs along the Markham area. It's going to be the same idea. What's very important about that is that there's some notable stops along the bus rapid transit system that you'll be able to stop at. So not only do you have Pickering City Centre, you've got Pickering Village, downtown Whitby, and from an investment point of view, you have immediate access to Trent University, as well as Centenary Hospital, Centennial College, and the University of Toronto Scarborough campus. Okay, so all of this will be at your doorstep. And then when you're talking about existing commercial space, we've got over 300,000 square feet of commercial space, just a 5-minute walk away, right next to the bridge that connects you to the GO trains for Pickering. And that would have major employment nodes such as RBC and BMO Wealth Management, along with Impact and also Ontario Power Generation companies, to name a few. And then when you're talking about the shops, Pickering City Centre, over 180 shops within 700,000 square feet of retail space, a major food court, coffee shops, movie theater, Farm Boy for your grocery store. And if you don't like Farm Boy, you've got Metro just across the street from here. So when we're talking about our master plan community, we're talking about first block consisting of 4 mixed-use residential towers. The ground floor will have residential, or it will have a lobby along with retail space for lease, and then the tower above We'll have over 100,000 square feet of indoor and outdoor amenities. That would include 75,000 square feet of outdoor, all of 45,000 square feet of indoor amenities to choose from. And on the ground level, retail space for lease, which will be over 18,000 square feet to enjoy. So now, the most important thing, price. So what we've done here is we've taken on some of the comparables of the developments that are near us. So highlighted in green is where we're standing now, Pickering City Centre. And then those highlighted in orange would be one development just west of here and another development just south of us. And so what we've done is we've taken their price per square foot, and we know that they're looking at close to $1,200 a square foot. And we know that they had launched at a time where interest rates were going at an increased rate. We also know that they've already built some of the towers in those areas. So the growth, the opportunity for growth in the appreciation of the value is still there. And we have a greater value considering this is the first 2 of 10 towers to be built just in the first phase. When you compare our price per square foot, you're looking at significantly less amount, giving you more value to buy here. And again, this is just the first of many towers to be built here. So as time goes on, naturally, the cost to build goes up. Therefore, the values and the prices of these condos will go up too. Meaning anybody who buys into now will see an appreciation in the purchase price of the condo that they're buying. So when we get the breakdown of the different model types from the 2 comparables, you'll see here comparable 1, comparable 2 are in the mid to high 500s, 1-bedroom in dens in the mid 600s, 1-bedroom in dens, which we like to call junior 2-beds because they have 2 full baths and they have a den that can be also converted into a bedroom in the low 700s, and then 2 bedrooms, 2 baths in the mid to high 7s. When you compare that to the resale value, you're looking at prices that are significantly less. And we know that the reason why you're able to buy a resale home now at a lesser price is these buildings will not be completed in the next 3 to 4 years. So not only is it the cost that you're factoring in today, we're also anticipating what the prices will be in the later days. And very so often, not recently I would say, you would have the ability to buy a pre-construction condo price that would be comparable to the resale value. And I would say since the last 10 years, you wouldn't have that opportunity until today. When you look at our prices at Pickering City Centre, we have 1-bedrooms that are comparable to resale condos in the area, in the low 500s. 1-bedroom in dens, you're talking about mid 500s, low 600,000s for a 1-bedroom junior 2-beds, and then our 2 beds, 2 baths in the high 6s. Very close and comparable to the resale condos. So you already know that based on these prices, not only do you have the benefit of waiting 3 or 4 years for these condos to be completed, where it's very likely that the interest rates will now go down, you also know that you've got developments that are further away from the GO trains, from the Pickering Town Center Mall, and the new bus rapid transit system that they're looking at a higher price. So you're already seeing that your price and the purchase of a condo here are insulated by not only the developments that are happening in the area, but also the development that will be happening in the future just from our site alone. So this is how you break it down. This is the investor blueprint, where you want to buy low and sell high and have everyone else take the risk and pay more for the development that they have. You're buying into an area that has existing use infrastructure, like the mall, the GO trains that are nearby, commercial space, which is just minutes away. You add the density. You're adding more condos to the area, which will start with approximately 2,000 units just in the first block of the first 4 towers. You're looking for great value and overall success in the real estate world, and building your equity here would be no better place because we do offer the best value in the GTA. This is it. You put it all together. It's the best opportunities you're going to have. So let's talk about the tower itself. Here's a couple of renderings that we have to give you an idea of what the finished product looks like. This picture here is on the north end of the building in front of Towers 2 and Towers 4. And what you'll notice on the scale model as well is that we'll be building a public park, approximately 1.5 acres in size for people to enjoy. There'll also be a luxury hotel that'll be built in the area as well. Water features, speeding rinks, a lot of things for not only the residents of Pickering City Centre, but the residents of Durham and Pickering to enjoy. Here's an idea of what the rendering of the lobby will look like. Double ceiling height. Of course, you've got models finishes here. And you can also take a look at some of the finishes in the kitchen next in the room. Let's give a breakdown of the towers. So right now we're working with the first two towers. Towers 1, we sold 95% in less than a week. 45 stories, 500 suites. Tower 2 is currently 50% sold. 40 stories, 450 suites. Once we sell and reach a certain point of our sales in Tower 2, we'll be moving on to Tower 3, which will be 50 stories, 550 suites. And finally, Tower 4, 55 stories, 600 suites. So you're looking at over 2,000 suites in just the first floor. Because we sold Tower 1, 95% in less than a week, we immediately pivoted and started the sales of Tower 2. As a result, we're still working with day one prices. There have been no increases to the prices from Tower 1 to Tower 2. But I do know that just based on time alone, that once we start selling Towers 3 and 4, there will be an increase in price. So you'll notice that as you move along, which is why there's very good value, very good opportunity to buy today. Here's an idea of some of the amenities. This infinity pool that is being looked over by the indoor gym there, that is located in Tower 2. Okay, so there's an added benefit to anyone who buys into Tower 2. They'll have direct elevator access to our gyms. And if you haven't seen our gyms before, they're state-of-the-art fitness centers that you will never need a membership moving forward. That is my part. If you have any questions, myself, Norris will be here to answer any questions that you might have. And thank you for listening to me.